when we are in a deep level of relaxation in order to produce an out-of-body experience or perhaps a deep meditation or a different mind practice, we may just get distracted or completely fall asleep. In order to succeed in these practices, we need to learn to control our brain activities when we are in between awake and asleep. Today I'm going to give you some tips for this. Hi, I am Nancy Trivelato. I'm very glad to have you here with me. Today we are going to discuss about a topic that is important for any situation when we want to fully relax. Very often we may learn techniques to relax, but we just relax our body. We do not necessarily relax our brain, our mind, our brain activity, and it's very important that we do both together to succeed in many different levels in a number of activities or practices. If this is your first time in this channel and you like topics related with the spiritual reality, how to explore the world beyond this physical dimension, and you want to grow within spiritually and combine all of this here in the everyday life, I suggest you take a look at the other videos and maybe you want to consider subscribing. There are many different factors that we need to control to master well this phase or this capacity to be fully relaxed with the brain, but our mind is still aware, so that we notice what's going on in other levels of reality. Among them, there are factors that are physiological, meaning how we can learn to control our physical bodies. Otherwise, we relax, our brain is used to just shut down. This is part of what we have been doing since ever. Most of the times we just start falling asleep, or maybe we go to bed and we start relaxing, we are aware, and all of a sudden we shut down. So this is what we want to change. But there are also factors that are related with our chakras, our energy body, and the energy environment around of us, meaning what sort of spirits, what sort of energy could be present while you are doing your relaxation, because that can influence our thoughts, that can influence our capacity to concentrate and our mood, our motive towards the exercise. So there are cases in which we are super tuned, and in others, even though everything is apparently the same and you are doing the exercise with as much will as you normally do, still it doesn't work quite in the same way. Today we are going to focus on the physiological aspects, and I'm going to do another separate video to focus on the energetic and non-physical aspects or spiritual aspects around of us. But this phase here, and the reason why I'm discussing this first, is because ideally you would like to practice what I'm going to explain here in the sequence that I'm going to explain, so that you can then go to other different types of observations and to control your environment and the energies around in a different way. If we mix everything, we do not know what is interfering, and then we do not know what we should practice. So let's go to the first tip. The first thing that you have to do is to observe for some days or perhaps a couple of weeks when is the right moment when you fall asleep. What does that mean? Instead of just lying in bed and being distracted, you will focus how your pattern of thinking changes. You know, when we start thinking different, like slower, or random memories start coming to our minds, that is what you want to notice. And observe what is the last thought or last topic you were thinking about when you fell asleep. So we want to observe that. You will learn with your brain how it goes down, and when is it that is the threshold. That's what you want to learn. When is the threshold that you completely black out, you no longer see what's going on. With time, what we are going to do is that we are going to expand that threshold, and you'll be able to go to a deeper relaxation and less brain activity, but still not having a blackout, still maintaining your lucidity. That's what we are going to do. Or if you have any spontaneous movement in your body, all of this is going to teach you how your body falls asleep. You are not your body. Your body falls asleep, but you can not sleep at the same time. Once you manage to practice and control a little bit this first phase, we are going to use a technique similar to what Thomas Edison used to use. And for this, what we are going to do is that we are going to use our arm. This is a very known technique, but it's important that we know how to practice it. So let me give you some tips. You are going to just put your arm like this, like up with your elbow supported on the bed, and you will let yourself fall asleep, kind of. Because when you really start going lower and lower in that relaxation, there will be a moment that your arm will move. So you want it to happen. You want to allow your body goes to such a deep relaxation that this happens. What is this going to tell you? It's going to show you when is the moment that you start losing control of what is going on in the environment. It will support our first strategy to go deeper. So now it's a second phase of it. Of course, you want to be able to completely fall asleep in your regular way at some point. But let's say that you establish to yourself that you are going to do this for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, before you just say, okay, let's go with it. Please notice that while you are doing this exercise, not necessarily you will be tired in the morning, for example, or you won't be able to rest. Why not? Because your physical body is fully relaxed. You are allowing your brain waves to go down, so there is also some sort of recovery of the brain. And you are at the same time conscious of the energy around. So you may do all of this and still be okay. But you have to observe for yourself how it works. When we are too stressed, we may need to dream, quicker, because we all dream during the night, and this is part of the brain recovery also. But at some point, you start dreaming, and this is what we are going to do next. So, following a perfect sequence here, what you are going to do next is to observe when you start to have dream-like image that comes to you while you are in this phase, in the hypnagogic phase. Meaning, you are not completely awake, but you are not completely asleep either. When you start observing your dreams at that moment in this phase, you will allow yourself to see how you are independent of the brain. Even though when we manifest here in this body, we are observing reality, experiencing reality, and manifesting reality through our brains, because that is the tool we have here in this physical world. But now, when you are falling asleep, or you are going to a practice that is to reach a bigger reality, we do not need the body and the brain, but we cannot completely disconnect from it. So how do we cope this phase? So you will notice that after the first 2 steps that we did, one that you are going to do for a couple of weeks at least, and then the second you are going to practice also for some weeks until you manage this, maintaining this hypnagogic state, then now you are going to just observe the silence of your mind with attention to what we have already built from before. But when you observe the silence of your mind, you will try to notice what images are in my mind. And then you see after a while that you'll be able to dream. But it's not a lucid dream. It's you observing the image that comes to your brain. It's a purely brain dream, meaning just information that we have accumulated throughout the day that starts coming, but you will be an observer. It's different than the lucid dream that you feel like a participant even though it's a dream. In this case, no. So I have had experience in which I see, for example, in my brain, like I'm dreaming of a beautiful street, and then I see a dog, but I know I'm dreaming. It's not a remote viewing. Remote viewing is different. You take a look here in the channel that I have a video about remote viewing. But there are cases in which it's not remote viewing. It's your brain creating that image. This usually doesn't last long, because after a while we start dissociating ourselves with the brain until the brain stops that activity and we can move forward. We can project, have an astral projection, we can disconnect from the body. However, of course, we are, in terms of energy, permanently connected. Our physical body will interfere in our condition when we are projected outside of our bodies, and vice versa. That's why it's so important to manage this phase. If you want to understand more this energetic connection that keeps us always attached to the body, even when we are in an out-of-body experience, I'll put here a couple of videos to suggest so that you can go deeper on that. I hope this was useful. Please give me a feedback and tell me, how is it for you to be able to relax and maintain lucidity? Do you manage to leave the body at will? Are you capable of observing all of this I am discussing? Let me know what's easy, what's hard for you, and I'll be happy to help. Please remember to give me a thumbs up if the video was useful, and I would love to see you in a future video.